So recently I've picked up this old S20 Samsung telephone, and you know, when it comes to these old telephones, they're absolutely great for playing video games and of course some emulation, but the downside of it is these things are very thin and not comfortable at all. However, in this video I just wanted to do a chit chat about the Zike. This is a mobile game stretchable controller for all kinds of different devices like iPhone with iOS or having an Android device like my Samsung. But let's combine it and let's have some fun and let's see, is this going to be any good? I did review a couple of these, let's say, devices from AliExpress, from all kinds of different, let's say, brands, but most of them were like very cheap solutions. But this particular version does have the dual Hall effect design, meaning that we do have like an accuracy, and of course we don't have the weird thing that we have seen with all kinds of PlayStation 5 and Switch with the drifting of the joysticks. So this is a little bit more of a high quality premium product, or at least that's what they're saying. So it comes with a built-in vibrator motor, having of course the wired mode for low latency, and that is quite interesting if you want to play competitive with some games. And of course it does have support for iPhone 15 and higher and phones with an USB-C interface. And that's why I'm going to be using my old S20 phone. But when it comes to the specs and everything, that was really intriguing. But again, is it really worth it? That is something you need to decide. We're having all kinds of different handheld devices. That also comes with built-in Android. And some of them are quite powerful. Are they comparable, let's say, comparable with a lot of different stuff that we're going to be playing on this? Yeah, that's of course a question you should ask yourself, because everybody wants to play something different. If you just want to play some old school Call of Duty or some other games that's compatible with this particular controller, or you want to play something else like Emulation. So it comes with the safety precautions and explanation how everything works. So moving on to what's inside actually in here and the controller. So what is my first impression actually? So when it comes to, let's say, the way how this feels, I mean particularly when it comes to the controller, this feels quite nice when it comes to that. And another thing is, like when you're going to be looking into, let's say, the buttons, we do have this very long travel. But when you're going to be listening closely, you can hear the click. So because they're micro switched, and the way how you're going to be holding this, playing this, is absolutely nice because your fingers are in the perfect position for the extra back buttons over there. So ergonomics, this thing is very nice. Where we also have like very tiny joysticks, and not to the point that they're too small, some kind. And of course the D-pad, that is micro switch, so it will be interesting to see what you can actually do with that. And of course the original layout of the Xbox controllers, like the ABXY. Over here we're having the shoulder buttons and the analog buttons. But that seems to be very nicely. Okay, so next thing we're going to be doing is clicking this thing in. Let's see if we can do this fairly easy. Or is this going to be a problem? Nope, it's just going to be clicking in fairly easy like that. It automatically recognizes, so the vibrator motor activates. So let's get into some gaming. I don't want to make a call, we just wanted to play some games, and let's see how they are compatible with all kinds of different games. But when it comes to the different connectivity ways, they made it like a quick overview over here. We're going to be sliding the controller, and this way we can just switch between different modes. That can be very convenient, of course, if you're going to be switching between different kind of phones like an Apple and having just a Samsung like here. So let's start off with some Sonic Mania. We're going to be using, of course, the audio of the phone itself, and the S20 is a quite interesting phone when it comes to that. Let's see if it's going to be doing anything out of the box. Oh crap, that was completely not what I wanted to do. So it's in a little bit of a downside that the B button has been mapped automatically to do that. Okay, so the D-pad and the analog seems to be working fine. Save data corrupt. What? What is that kind of wicked shenanigans? So one of the very positive things about when it comes to playing this controller is that we're going to be just click everything in. You can see this rubber, that's a construction, keeps it in place very well. We don't have like a lot of wiggle to it. It's very okay when it comes to the construction itself. With maximum audio, what? Yeah, almost. And of course, thanks to the controller, all of the speakers in the phone are actually cleared, so we can actually just have the maximum performance of the audio speakers. And I mean, prefer, like normally when you're going to be holding it in your hands, you're going to be having the problem that we do have the problem that we're going to be putting your hands on the speaker, and this is not going to be happening now. So this is going to be one of those very positive things about it. Let's see if one of the buttons have been mapped to another strange way. Back buttons haven't been mapped at all out of the box, but the controls seem to be working fine. But out of the box, this seems to be working just fine. So we actually have been switching to the other modes. So pressing FN and the X, having the Xbox input, if I'm saying it correctly over here. Let's cheat. There we go. Did I say it correctly? Yes. Okay, Xbox mode. And this way we can actually now have the normal mode going on. So wherever like the exit would be, that is not the case anymore. So that's kind of great. So everything has been mapped like it's supposed to be. So we don't have the weird problems. So that's one thing you need to take consideration getting into the product. You need to switch to the right mode. Otherwise you're not going to be having the right experience when it comes to that. But let's move to the next game. Is going to be Street of Rage. You can actually buy this from the Play Store. How much it is, I don't exactly know. I bought it a long time ago. So, but when it comes to playing with the D-pad, this is really pleasant to play, because with these games it's very important that you need to have like the certain direction, and because of the short travel and the micro switch D-pad, I am a big fan of it. Everything seems to be working like it's supposed to be when it comes to the button input, thanks to the X input that we're going to be using with this. So out of the box, this is absolutely a lot of fun. And if you're going to be combining your Netflix account with the Play Store, then we're actually going to be having some really cool games like GTA San Andreas. I need to be honest with you guys that I didn't really play this game because I was more like into Vice City, even this thing was released, but I completely understand that people dig this because it's such an amazing title. And playing it on the phone in a widescreen, this is looking quite nice. But let's move to the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the Shredder Revenge. You need to combine this with the Netflix. Yep, that's one of the things that's going to be happening in the future. I'm very curious if you can just buy it from the store later on. That would be nice. The vibro motor on this thing this controller is just insane. It's very aggressive when it comes to that in the left and right handle. So what I love about the D-pad is that it's such a responsive D-pad thanks to the micro switches. The next game I wanted to try is some Minecraft with having the X input and of course having every single controller going to be needing for going into the creative mode. Also, now we can actually feel that the rumble motor is quite subtle, so it's not like this crazy overkill rumble motor that you noticed with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle game. So this seems to work fine. Both of the, let's say, analog sticks are super responsive. This is just such an, let's say, pleasant overall experience, and now we can actually feel where I do with the grip, like the back over here. This is very nice when it comes to the pattern. If you're going to be just playing, this is just a very interesting way to play. Whee! Oh, I'm upside down. With the S20 we have the option actually to play this on higher resolutions, bringing the overall experience to the next level. But the reason I want to take you on a ride, like the music says, is they're going to be seeing how this is going to be working with Emulation, but also if you're going to be playing some fighting games. It looks kind of weird because I've been setting it to the 4:3 aspect ratio, and you have like these massive black bars at the side. Like already suspected is that it's going to be just a very nice D-pad to actually play the fighting games with. So let's get into, they say, the analog stick for fighting games. Oh, a little bit of stuttering, pushing the phone to the limit. So when it comes for playing, this is such an overall fun experience. Setting it to 2 times resolution with the Vulkan engine. See how this is actually going to be playing, and I can tell you that what is important that we do have a very nice D-pad, or if you going to like to play with an analog stick. No, you do some frame dips. So one of the things I do notice, and that is something I didn't mention before, so if you're going to be holding the A button, you can see that my right thumb is actually slightly bumping into the joystick. It's not like super annoying, but that is something a little bit of a downside. So doing the spinning move is no problem, thanks to the fast responding, let's say, joysticks. So I think I need to hold it like here, so like this. I think it's only going to be less of a problem. Yeah, but besides that, this is such an overall fun experience, and combined with the S20, man, this runs really nice. So with this controller, it doesn't come with a really cheap price that we have seen before. I think it's a really interesting option when it comes to that. So if you have an old phone laying around, this would be a very cool way to actually play and enjoy yourself some very cool games. Play them through, let's say, the controller is just such a very fun thing. I think one of the biggest things that I love about this controller is just the way how comfortable it is, the way how the grips, and of course when you're looking at the pattern and everything else, you can just charge it up over here. We have buttons that you can even map if you want to, and this is such a fun overall, let's say, combination. So maybe it would be fun to do an in-depth video about, let's say, the S20 phone. So consider subscribing, let me know in the comments what do you think of the controller like this with all of these fancy things. Do you think it's worth it, or are you going to be sticking with another brand? Let me know in the comments, and it would be great to see you in the next video.